right, hello, welcome. This is the first actual video diary slash vlog that I'll be doing. Just for those of you who don't know, these videos that I'm kind of posting to YouTube right now are just gonna kind of be like my thoughts and like general, like, here's what I did today, here's what's going on, here's all the fun stories, that kind of thing. Eventually, once I get home and I can edit this footage all together and everything, I'll remake these videos and it'll be similar format, but instead of me just being like talking at a screen, it'll be like me talking at a screen followed by like actual footage from the trip. So that's just kind of to keep you guys like a, TLDR kind of thing as to like what these videos are going to be about for like the next few months. But, that being said, we just left Tokyo. We're in Kanazawa right now, and I have some updates for everybody. So this will just be the kind of chronological, kind of like just fire hosing, like, here's what we did today, here's what we did yesterday, all that stuff. And, like I said, I'll be telling a lot of the stories, and of course, the interesting stories are the ones where things either almost go catastrophically wrong, or they go catastrophically wrong. And even though it's only been like 4 days, already have some interesting stories. So, that's good for everybody there, not so good for us. But, we've managed to stay alive, and we've managed to get to where we want to go and need to go every time. So, on that level, we're winning. But Brayden's currently in the shower. He was battling with the shower just now. Brayden's been struggling. He's been struggling with just the showers and the toilets and everything like that. I'm in love. Like, the toilets here are great. Heated seats, heated bidets. Great toilets. Like, oh, this is awesome. Japan's also super clean, super friendly. Food's super good. I'll get more into that later. But yeah, so this is kind of the first video. First few days in Japan. This is going to really focus on Tokyo, just because that's where we spent the last few days. But of course, every great journey, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And for me, that journey began in St. Louis, or more specifically, Waterloo. Shout out to my mom for driving me to the airport on the 7th, January 7th. I have my notebook here because there's a lot of stuff we've done over the last few days, and be easier for me to reference here. So, adventure started in Waterloo with me trying to get my malaria medicine. And if you've been following the Instagram, you know all about the malaria medicine. But basically, for those of you who don't know, the malaria medicine, I called it in, a week before I left. Should have been enough time to get it. Didn't end up getting it from Walgreens in Waterloo, so had to look through other options. And the small town Whiteman Pharmacy came in like super clutch. They were able to get it. They were able to get enough of it. So shout out to Whiteman Pharmacy. You guys are great. Unpaid sponsorship, whatever. They're not sponsoring this video. I just thought if anybody is in Waterloo, Illinois, and you want to, have a good pharmacy experience, go to Whiteman. So the adventure began there. That was day 0. My mom and I hung out, drove to the airport, stopped by REI. We wanted to stop by Ted Drew's to get one last frozen custard, but Ted Drew's was closed because of the snowpocalypse, which was quite sad because Ted Drew's is also really good and a classic St. Louis brand. So I will not be eating Ted Drew's for the next 3 months, which makes me sad. So at REI, got some good pants on sale, which really nice. Nice Prana hiking pants. Got like 2 for 1, which was great because, I always need new hiking pants. And anytime they're a good brand like Prana, you get a deal like that, you can't not buy them. So REI is a dangerous store for me, of course. Like, every time I go into REI, even if my hands are tied behind my back, I will buy something because, like, it's a great store. It's the same thing with the Lego store. Just awesome. But, after that, after I, started off the trip by spending $100 on clothes I didn't need for the next 3 months, got dropped off at the airport, took my flight to Philly. That was pretty much uneventful. Pretty standard Southwest flight, nothing really to report. Delayed 20 minutes out of St. Louis, some bad weather from Denver where the flight was coming from. Nothing crazy. But once I got to Philly, that's where things started to get interesting, because right after I got to Philly, I got to Delaware, and I'd never been to Delaware before. So I think Delaware now is state number 39. I have to double check that, but I think Delaware is 39, so I'm getting there. One of my goals before, like, within like the next 2 years or so, is to get all 50. But getting Delaware off my list, huge W, because I didn't know when I was going to go back to Delaware, and it just so happened that my friend was staying in Delaware, so stayed with him tonight. I could not sleep this night. I don't know what goes on, but sometimes before a big event, before a big flight, whatever, I just get really bad insomnia and I just cannot sleep. And that was one of those nights. And I kind of knew it was going to happen. I was kind of just like mentally preparing for it. I was like, oh, God, I'm going to go to this flight to Tokyo without any sleep. And that's pretty much what happened. I got like 2 hours of sleep or so, but like that's not really anything. Not the type of sleep you want to get before an international flight. And so yeah, the next day we wake up around like 5:30. Now it's the 8th. This is the big day. This is day one. We're leaving for Tokyo now. Brayden's mom's boyfriend drops us off at the Philadelphia Amtrak station. We get on the Amtrak train and we train up to Newark. And we go through security at Newark. Everything's fine. And we get to the United Lounge because of Brayden's credit card benefits. And we have fun at the United Lounge. We get some food, we have a drink at the bar. It's like 10 o'clock in the morning, so we're being a little bit of delinquents at this point, but it's vacation, so why not? Had a nice Sam Adams there. It was really small. It was like barely, like maybe like a half of a can of beer, so not really that much, and I haven't even drank since, so like, if that was any indication how the trip is going to go, it was like the opposite direction. But what should have been an indication as how the next few days of our life was going to go was when United said that we all had to check our carry-on bags at the gate. I've never been on an international flight on a 777 before where they ran out of overhead space, so I don't know what was going on, where they just had so many people having to check their carry-on bags at the gate for a big international flight. If anybody has ever experienced that, let me know, but I've never experienced where a 777 ran out of overhead bin space. Like, what the heck? Anyway, that flight. Oh my God, what a miserable flight. I think all told we were on that plane for 15 hours, and what a miserable 15 hours they were. I mean, it's about the same length of the flight that United used to fly from Newark to Mumbai that I've taken several times, and it's just, oh my God. Oh my God, it's just awful. It's just awful. United flies 343 in economy on their 777. Oh my God, it's miserable. We did what we could. We slept a little bit, watched some jet lag, ate some pretty mediocre food, and that's putting it lightly. The food was not good on that flight. The cheesecake brownie was good though. United cooked with their dessert. Whoever they outsourced that to, they really did a good job. But the regular airplane food, was not good quality. I think that was like some of the worst food I've ever eaten. And so yeah, that flight was just miserable. But other than that, we survived. We survived. 15 hours later, we get into Newark. It's now the 9th. We left on the 8th. Now it's the 9th. Of the time change. It's like a 15-hour time change from like the central, which is kind of crazy to think about. So we get into Tokyo, and this is where I have to eat some humble pie, because I think like, oh yeah, we can navigate Tokyo, no problem. Like Tokyo's going to be so easy to navigate with the subway system. In other words, I was being an American. I was being an American abroad, where I thought that everything abroad was going to be, like the U.S. I thought Tokyo was going to be maybe a slightly bigger, more complicated version of New York, where, it's like, okay, you just put it into Google Maps and that's what you get. Oh boy, was I wrong. Oh boy, was I wrong, and I should have known better. I should have known that the world is not like America in any way. As somebody who has traveled abroad, as somebody who has lived abroad, I should have known that, but I didn't. So we spent a good chunk of time trying to figure out how to get from, Tokyo Narita Airport to our Airbnb, and finally we were able to book the Skyline. We figured out to book the Skyliner train from Narita to Nippuri Station, and this is where I have to check my notes because of all the stuff. And then we finally took the Tokyo Metro to the Airbnb. And that was a whole nother thing because we had to get the Suica cards. And what we should have done is we should have researched how to get the Suica cards, which, if you don't know, Suica is like the Japanese Metro. It's one of the Japanese Metro cards. I think the other one's Pasmo. But we should have researched ahead of time. We should have researched a lot ahead of time, is the moral of the story. We should have researched ahead of time how to get these Suica cards. But we didn't. So if we would have researched them, we would have found out we could have gotten them at Narita Airport, and that would have made life a little bit easier. Instead, we had to get it at, and I'm blanking on the station name. Shinagawa. Thanks, Brayden. We had to get them at Shinagawa, and once we figured out how it worked and how everything was actually operating, it was pretty smooth. The Airbnb check-in was smooth. We picked up some bento boxes from the station, from Shinagawa Station, and were surprisingly good. I mean, again, as an American, I think like airport food, train station food is being like really low quality, really bad, like it's overly priced. But again, humble pie. The world is not like America, and yeah, it was really good quality. I think I had like some type of charcoal chicken. It was like smoky and barbecue. It basically tasted like barbecue chicken. I think Brayden had some type of beef. Right?
There was also chicken in there. It was kind of like a lot of random things.
Yeah.
But it was like beef with rice and some kind of...
There's like some vegetables and...
But there was some kind of like sauce as well. Which
right.
And then, yeah, there was some random assorted vegetables and pickled eggplant.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
It was pretty good. Yeah, it was definitely a nice change of pace from United Airlines economy food. I mean, that was... Oof. Yeah, after that dinner, took showers, went to bed.
And you mentioned the noise, right? So
yeah.
Want to be a little bit quiet.
I'm against the wall right now. But yeah, you're right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, the walls, like the outside walls here.
Okay. Just fine.
Yeah, there's with this Airbnb, there's some noise. So like luckily we're against the outside wall right now, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue. But Brayden pointed that out. Yeah, so we crashed hard at the Airbnb, of course, because we've been up for probably about 24 hours at this point, or at least I have. And the next day I wake up feeling awful, feeling sick. I actually do get sick and immediately feel better. I had like a headache in the front of my head, and whenever I get these type of headaches, I just usually get sick sometimes. So that was not fun. But, we kind of walked around Shinagawa, our area where we were staying, and, we had a 7-Eleven breakfast, which was, pretty good. I think I had like a red bean pastry, and then Brayden had like bun, yeah. Brayden had like these strawberry twists, and then we had like strawberry yogurt as well.
I also had a strawberry bar.
And Brayden had the strawberry bar as well.
Strawberry. I guess I'll say hi. I don't know.
Brayden can say hi. Yeah, you can come in.
Also, dude, look at these things. These are like the most dainty little slippers. I don't know if these are women's slippers or if these are just dumb.
I think we just have bigger feet compared to...
My feet aren't even that big.
I mean...
But...
Yeah, they don't fit me. I've already given up on that one.
Yeah, I was like, they're... Sorry, I'll let you continue. But yes, 7-Eleven breakfast.
Yeah, 7-Eleven breakfast was really good.
It was like $3 each.
Yeah, it was
not even. Dude.
It was really good. That's another thing right now because like the dollar is strong and the yen is weaker. Like Japan is relatively like affordable. Like I think over like all the time we spent in Tokyo, and we ate pretty good in Tokyo. I think we averaged like $10 a day. So on food, which is not bad at all. Like some of the food we got in Tokyo, like you get in the U.S. for like 2 or 3 times as much as we paid. So it was a nice little surprise. But yeah, we saw a shrine around Shinagawa, which was really nice. That was, there's a little cemetery there. It was really pretty. And then after that, we went to Shinjuku Yon National Garden, which is like one of the big parks in Tokyo. And it was really nice. Even in winter, we walked around. We saw a greenhouse. We saw all these things, and yeah, it was just really, really nice. And at this point, I think we'd already hit like 10,000 steps, just to this is a little bit of a wake-up call for Brayden, because I was like, oh yeah, we're going to be walking a ton. And Brayden's like, no, we're not going to be walking all that much. And yeah, we definitely have. I think this day we walked 26,000 steps. But yeah, after that, we went to the Tokyo Skytree because we had tickets booked for the observation deck at 4:30. So we got to watch the sunset. But before we got to the Skytree, we got some vending machine ice cream in one of the subway stations, which was pretty good actually. It was fairly decent ice cream, and it was cheap. So those two things are always a good thing. Yeah, but then the Tokyo Skytree was just awesome. I mean, there's just no other way of putting it. Breathtaking, awe-inspiring. I didn't realize how just... when you're on the ground in Tokyo, it's clearly a massive city. Like, that's clear. But when you're up in the air, you just realize how much Tokyo sprawls. I mean, it makes sense. There's 41 million people who live here. It's the biggest city on the planet. Which is just amazing to me because I've been in cities that are fractions of this size, Atlanta, that just don't work, that are filthy, that are disgusting, that don't have public transit, trash everywhere, smell, stinky. Tokyo is the exact opposite, and I don't know how that happens. I don't know why Tokyo is the exception to the big city rule, but Tokyo is amazing. And seeing it from the Skytree was awesome. We got to see Mount Fuji in the background. We were treated to an awesome sunset. Like, that day was just great. And I think both Brayden and I were just like, oh my god, like, this is awesome. Like, just absolutely awe-inspiring. At the Skytree, we met an American family who was giving us some interesting, unsolicited advice about traveling and everything. And guy was critiquing our trip a little bit and some of our decisions, and whatever. It was fun. That's definitely the difference. One of the differences you notice between, just going abroad is Americans definitely make their presence known. And, you can always tell an American. That's something my dad always used to say, is you can always tell who the Americans are when you travel abroad, because we definitely make ourselves known. After we were done with the Skytree, we went to the Shibuya crossing, which is like the big crossing in Tokyo. Like, if you've seen a picture of Tokyo and like all the people crossing, it's probably Shibuya crossing. Really cool at night, all these neon signs, and we had to get dinner, of course, so we got none other than a good old Japanese classic of Kentucky Fried Chicken. But this is not like the American version of Kentucky Fried Chicken. Every fast food chain, for those of you who don't know, does their own thing with like fast food if they go abroad, and KFC is no different. So at KFC in Japan, we had like these crispy tenders, which were really good, like this shrimp fried thing, which I didn't like as much as Brayden did. It was still pretty good, but it definitely, even though I like shrimp, it just wasn't, I don't know, didn't taste as good to me. We had some type of wrap with like some type of sauce that tasted like molasses, which was really good. And then we had like red hot chicken tender, like chicken thigh, which I really liked. After that, we walked around Shibuya a little bit, and we eventually wandered into the Don Quixote store, which was just a sensory overload. It was all sorts of colors and sounds and smells and everything like that, and it was wow. I mean, it's often joked about online about how Americans are excessive with Walmarts and stuff like that, but like this store was like overwhelming for me, who grew up in Walmart. So I think I did some more research on like Don Quixote, and it's like a discount store in Japan. So I think that's pretty much what it is, but it was still pretty cool. They have like 7 or 8 levels of the store, and it's just all jam-packed with stuff. Like, it is just so much stuff. But I did get some postcards there. So, the postcard collection grows ever longer. That was pretty much the end of that day, though. There wasn't really too much else we did. Overall, really good day, but 26,000 steps later, we were both pretty tired and we both crashed pretty hard. So, leading into the next day, this was the Mount Fuji day, and that was just spectacular. Mount Fuji is gorgeous mountain, gorgeous area around the mountain, but of course, no adventure to Mount Fuji would be complete without some type of headache or hiccup. And, this is where the interesting stories start to happen. So, this day starts off, we get our train station breakfast, bakery breakfast. It was like from a bakery called Anderson's or something. It was really good. We had like a banana muffin, we had like a strawberry pastry, a cherry tart, and a croquette. There was like a egg on top of like a ham sandwich, which was delicious. Like all of it was really good. Apparently, I think some people who've traveled to Japan have told me that like Japan is known for their bakeries, and yeah, like this one was really good. But then we tried to get to Mount Fuji, and this is where we started to run into problems. I'll preface this next part by saying I've always been mistrustful of buses, and my mistrust of buses goes back like years because with a train is accountable. There's tracks on the train runs on, like the train will be there. With buses, you don't know if the bus is going to be there. You don't know if the bus is going to show up. You don't know if the bus is going to leave. Like, there's a lot of factors. Like, the bus could get into a crash on the road. Like, you don't know. And there's a whole nother long story I will tell later on about why I distrust buses. It has to do with my time studying abroad in France. But let's just say I don't trust buses. And of course, the method that Google Maps has us getting to Mount Fuji is a bus. So Brayden and I trained to the bus terminal, and the bus is about to leave, but oh no! Turns out we needed to book bus tickets in advance, and neither one of us had enough to, book bus tickets in advance. So now we're just running around trying like fishes with our heads or chickens with our heads cut off, trying to be like, oh, what do we do? I don't know. What do you do? And eventually we get Wi-Fi, and Google Maps tells us that there's actually a train we can take from Tokyo to Mount Fuji, and specifically the area in Mount Fuji was Kawaguchiko, which is on one of the 5 Fuji lakes, Lake Kawaguchi, which is very pretty, and I'll get there. But yeah, so eventually it just is like, oh my gosh, like, well, I guess we're taking the train. And unfortunately with the train, we have to pay the fare because our JR Rail passes only activate today, because this next section of the trip is going to be where we're going to be taking a lot of these high-speed rails and local rail lines a lot more, because we're not confined to Tokyo now. We're going to be going from, Kanazawa down to Nagoya, then we're going to, Kobe, Kyoto, Hiroshima. So all these places need these long distance trains, and so that's where the rail pass just happens to fall. So but it's not that much. I think it was like $50 all told, so not terrible, and that was like round trip. But luckily there was a train that took us right to Kawaguchiko, and so then we go, and at the station we're both pretty hungry because all we've had so far these little pastries, and it's 5 or 6 hours later. So at the train station, we go on a little bit of a culinary adventure. At least for me, this was a little bit adventurous. We tried 2 things. One was lava fried chicken, which was just like this black fried chicken. I don't know how see, I read online something similar. So on one hand, I don't know how they did it, but on the other hand, I think they just used like bamboo charcoal and like squid ink to dye the chicken and fry it up, which fried chicken is pretty good. Actually, it was really good. But the other thing we tried was something called fish cake and octopus, and it came on a stick, and it's kind of hard to describe what it looked like, but it was actually good. I don't know why I sound surprised there. Of course it would be good, but it's just not something I'm used to eating or even trying, but it tasted like crab. The octopus definitely was a little bit chewier, but overall it tasted like crab, so it was pretty good, and there's nothing really else to say other than try things, and you might be surprised what you like. After we had our little snack there, our little calorie corner moment by the way, that's what we're calling all of our little food moments, is calorie corner. So I'm sure there'll be a future video about calorie corner, and in like the full length of these videos there will be a thing about calorie corner, and like there actually be food, and we've recorded some of them, but in this one of course there's just me talking to a camera. But after that we walked to Lake Kawaguchi, saw a beautiful sunset there on the lake. On the way to Lake Kawaguchi, we stopped at the grocery store. We got 2 drinks, so this was a real big calorie corner. We got the strawberry soda, which was delicious, and we got this like fruit juice. I think it may have been like some part of like mango orange juice or something like that. It was pretty good. The strawberry soda was really good though. And then, yeah, just spending time around Mount Fuji was great. Seeing Mount Fuji, seeing the lake was really spectacular. The sunset was amazing. Then, of course, we had to get back into town. We were originally going to go to another town, but we figured out that we couldn't get there and like spend time there, and there was no guarantee we'd get from that town back to Tokyo. So we just decided to call it a day there and, you know, bus back to Tokyo. And I mentioned bus because there was no train back. There was a bus back though, and you know, this put me on edge because, as I said, I have this, you know, irrational slash rational fear of buses, and this inherent distrust for buses. So I was a little bit on edge. Like I was like, oh, is the bus gonna show up? And like when the bus is late, I was like, oh, this is not good. But you know, of course, I was being a little bit dramatic. I was being a little bit funny. But the bus shows up like 5 minutes late, and we pack in, take the 2-hour bus back to Tokyo, and you know, we finish our day strong with Ichiran ramen. And I've never been to Ichiran ramen before. I've only really had like Japanese style ramen like once or twice in the U.S. Not like the Instacup, like actual real ramen. And this was really good. Saying it was really good is underselling it. It was phenomenal. Like, whew, like delicious. After a long day on the road, walking, training, busing, hit the spot. Finished up the day doing some finances, doing some accounting, bookkeeping, all that stuff.
You're forgetting an important part about Ichiran.
Oh, yes. How could I forget about Ichiran? Thank you, Brayden, for bringing this up.
The half-boiled egg incident.
At Ichiran, we had the half-boiled egg incident of 2025. And, oh boy, this was another case of, you know, two people who on paper are very smart not being able to figure out how basic things work. So Brayden, we're standing in line for Ichiran. Brayden starts talking about how they have these eggs, and I was like, okay, cool, because like, you know, you eat ramen with boiled eggs. Like everybody knows that. That's fine. I was like, cool, yeah, let's get a boiled egg. And so, you know, we order our ramen, we order the eggs, and the eggs come out first, and we're looking at the eggs. We're like, oh, like, what do we do with the egg? I thought they were gonna put the egg in the ramen for us, but no, that's not how that worked. And well, they give us the ramen, and well, let's just say I have the brilliant idea of cracking the egg, and you know, it's a half-boiled egg, so the yolk is still a little bit liquidy. It's not fully solidified. And so the egg cracks, and I pull it apart, and you know, I just start dumping it into the ramen. But I realize this isn't gonna work. So then I take my chopstick and I start to like gut the egg. Massacred it. Like this egg, like I feel like I violated this egg. It was bad. Like
it could have been a chicken, man.
It could have been something.
It could have been a chicken, and that's what happened.
This egg did not deserve to be on my plate last night. But you know, that's the way the cookie crumbles, or that's the way the egg gets laid. So yeah, like at this point, I know I'm doing something wrong, but I'm in too deep now to like stop. So I just keep going, and all the while Brayden is watching me, like learning, observing, like, you know, because I'm the guinea pig here, and Brayden's able to, you know, somewhat get the egg correctly until Brayden has the, you know, he starts on the same path I do. He cracks the egg, you know, he starts it, but then he has the brilliant idea of the radical idea of, what if you just peeled the egg with your fingers? And for those of you who eat hard-boiled eggs, you're sitting there right now, probably like this, shaking your head, saying, how could these two not have known that? And to that, I don't have an answer.
I know the answer. I have cereal for breakfast every day. I've never made eggs for myself my entire life. I've cracked like 3 eggs my whole entire life, and only for baking, pretty much. Okay, so I had no idea what the fuck I was doing with this egg. Sorry, I shouldn't curse. You're gonna have to bleep that.
Yeah, probably.
I'll redo it. I had no idea what the heck I was doing with this egg. And I just thought Liam would have some kind of semblance of an understanding. I mean, once we got the eggs, we both were just like, what do we do now?
Right.
We were like, oh, well. And then we got the ramen and nothing happened. We were like, oh, God. And I was just happy to just take the egg home. Like, I didn't know. I was like, Whatever.
I was like the spirit of adventure. Like, we gotta do this. Like, we gotta figure out this egg. This was a classic
God.
case of the blind leading the blind, because I thought, because the way Brayden talked about the egg, you would think
I
he
just said
he
you
knew
would
it.
order an egg. I didn't know what happened. Last time I went, they didn't have eggs.
He was like, he was like, I've been to like Itron with Joe, and like they mentioned eggs there,
Yeah.
and like, you know, yeah, we're co-opting Joe into this video, but so I thought this guy knew. No, of course not. So,
But I at least knew better than this guy. Guy
you
who's
you started on the same path as me though.
well, I at least okay. I got a much better crack.
That's
It was
true.
centered, and I actually was able to crack it in half. And I was like, okay, let me
true.
cook.
That's true.
But I also started to like kind of desecrate the egg with the chopstick.
Right.
And then I was like, wait, I can use my hands.
Right.
And scoop it out, and I was able to somewhat salvage
Right.
the egg, but it was still. It was not good either. But it wasn't like an absolute like.
There's 4 degrees
Bombing.
between us from a very good school, and like it took us that to figure it out. So.
Oh God, it was. I felt like I really felt like I was committing like a war crime.
It was bad.
I mean, it was awful,
It was really bad.
bro. And sorry, just that's the other thing. And doing zero research and going into a country, it's been a wake up call for sure. I mean, a lot of stuff. Like, I'll be honest. I'll share my thoughts. Like when we go to the temples today, like we're just watching what the people in front of us are doing. Like I feel like we probably should have researched.
100%.
I mean, really, if someone, you know, we walk up to big, you know, what do you call it, tower? What do you call it? The ones that are
gates?
just... Yeah, big gate. I'm stupid. Okay. See what... Hey, stop laughing. We were cutting that. They're not including that. Okay. So you walk up to these big gates, right? And, you know, I guess I've seen it before. People bow. But, okay, someone bows. Okay, I guess we're going to bow now. I guess we're bowing now.
Right.
And then, you know, we get to the temple, and oh, it's pretty, and then we see this line, see people with papers.
Yeah.
I'm guessing, I mean, we know what that was later in the day,
Right.
what those papers were.
Right.
We didn't even bother to get our fortune. And we were interviewed about it, like 2 days
That's
ago.
right.
I forgot to mention
I
paper
forgot to
fortune.
mention that.
No, yeah, you can get back to that. But anyways, we see these people like in a line, and we're like, okay, I guess what
down here?
are they in line for? Are they like, you know, walking up to get a photo? I honestly had no idea.
Yeah.
And then eventually, you know, I heard a lot of clapping, and like not, and I was like, and I heard, you know, change, and I'm like, okay, like how much change am I supposed? Like if I pull out one yen, like is Buddha gonna like hate me? Like, is there a certain amount of yen that's like,
right?
Are we supposed to do like 10 yen, or is it like, you know, the more yen the better? Like I had no idea. So like I think you did 10 yen. I did like 100 yen or whatever.
You did like the one coin with the hole.
Oh,
in it.
I don't even know how many yen mine was. But mine could have been 1,000.
It could have been.
It could have been so much yen. And I was gonna take it home as a souvenir, but I was like, you know what, this is a souvenir for Buddha, I guess, or, you know,
Is
my
that
fortune.
the right
Dude, I have no
person?
clue.
Like
I have no idea.
we should have done research.
I'll be completely
We're
honest.
being very culturally ignorant right now.
But I thought it
so-
was. I mean, I don't know if that's who it's to or anything, but it's Buddhism.
Is it Buddhism or Shintoism?
Well, Shinto was the one later in the day. I thought Buddha's. Actually, I have no clue.
This is
I have no idea.
This is a great example.
We
of what
don't
I'm
even need to
talking
include
about.
this because I mean,
And this
it's
is
just awful.
This is going to be the rough footage. Like,
it's awful.
This is the
dude.
rough log.
Like I don't even know what God I was bowing to.
I was just.
But I was
hoping
just
good
trying
thoughts.
to. Yeah, I was.
I mean,
I was just trying to be
I was trying to be
culturally respectful
and
embrace the culture that I didn't really know.
in doing so, we probably were very culturally disrespectful.
Oh, for sure.
Like, that's kind of the ironic thing about this, though.
Well, I was wishing for millions upon millions of dollars, and for clout on Instagram.
You got the regular fortune today. Wow.
I did get the regular, and I think that's why. I think this guy was probably, you know, asking for like breathing air for another day or something stupid. I was asking for the real things, and that's why I got the better fortune.
You're right. That's a whole nother story.
But yeah, no, it was just very much. I guess when we were out and about, it wasn't blind leading the blind. It was like the culture leading the blind.
Right.
And we were hoping to somewhat seem cultured.
Right.
So I just, it was an experience. it was really
certainly
cool.
was.
Like it certainly
It
was,
was.
an awesome,
It was
excellent experience.
beautiful,
But I also
and-
like felt like such a fraud. Like I felt like such an American. So like I remember.
Yeah.
Oh, it was like I was like, well, that was really cool, but I feel like I definitely did something like really disrespectful, and I have no
Yeah.
idea. Like, that's how I felt like the whole day. It's just like, did I?
I'm glad you felt that, because I felt that as well.
Yeah, I could tell. No, when I asked you what you thought, and you're like, oh, it was really pretty. Like, I just knew in the back of your head you had that thought as well, and I didn't want to bring it up, but like, I don't know. I didn't communicate that, but it was in my head as well.
It was. This is the perfect place to, bring it up, because, like I said, the funny stories are the ones that are funny, and
Yeah.
Nobody wants to sit here and be like, we did this today, everything went smoothly. Like, no, they want to see
Dude,
like
other people are gonna when you watch a different travel channel,
right,
or travel YouTube, if you want to actually like hear someone who's like cultured and is like, wow, I went to this temple and it was really cool because they do all this stuff, and I knew what to do. This is idiots traveling the world.
This is literally just how it goes, and like maybe eventually the channel gets to the point where I'm like, I'm actually cultured, but maybe this.
But then everyone's gonna unsubscribe. So what's the fun?
Right.
What's the fun?
So we have to keep up this act.
I think you would have to like wipe your brain or something to keep the act up. But
yeah. Anyway, we Brayden mentions this, and I forgot to mention this. The TV show, which is a whole thing. After we got done from Shinjuku Goemon Park, these two people came up to us. It's like one woman, and she's like, "Oh, we're with a Japanese TV show. We're interviewing tourists," and we did the interview, and they basically what they told us the interview was like, oh, they're trying to like educate the Japanese public about some like lesser known things in Japan by like having tourists talk about them and like kind of like give free advertising for them. If that was what it was, great. I'm so glad we did it. I have this fear in the back of my head though that like it's some kind of like tourist got like punk kind of thing, where it's like those people who go on like the streets of New York and ask like Americans like questions about America, and they're like, oh, like what year was the Declaration of Independence signed? Like 1500, and it's like, oh my gosh, like I have a feeling that's what it was. Like they're just like, look at these two dumbass Americans in Tokyo wandering around, and it's like, I'm sure that's not what it is. Like Japanese people are way too nice to do that, I feel like, but like, yeah, I mean, not fun. But hey, if Brayden and I become local celebrities in Japan because of our 15-second interview, that'd be cool. That'd be a cool little fun thing that happened on this trip. But yeah, it's actually good that Brayden butted in when he did, because that kind of segues into what we did today, which was visit these temples and visit these shrines. First in Yogi Park is what Brayden mentioned. We wandered around and we found the Meiji Shrine. Very pretty. Definitely culturally appropriated some things. Definitely we're very culturally ignorant about some things. Lesson learned for the future. Kind of research local customs and traditions before you go someplace. Probably a good idea. We also stopped by the Meiji Jinju Gyoen, which is a really nice garden. I am probably completely butchering the names of these words. So sorry if I am. I will educate myself on how to pronounce these words as well. But this is the raw footage. This is the raw video update vlog. This is a really pretty garden. I do know a little bit about this though, where the Emperor Meiji built this garden for his wife. So it's a very pretty garden. It's very sweet. It's like all like the story is very sweet. The history is very sweet. And it's just a lovely garden, a lovely park, and a lovely overall experience. Although I feel like we definitely made some faux pas. We then after Yoyogi Park we left. We went to Jingfu Tang, which was really good boba. They had like one thing on the menu there, and it was boba basically, and awesome. Like some of the best boba I've ever had. They like make the boba in front of you, and they like have like this blowtorch where they like brulee the brown sugar on top. Excellent. Like I think it's a chain, but it was excellent. We also took a pit stop at the Uniqlo. They had like this SpongeBob collaboration there, and Brayden kind of just he merged into my lane without a blinker. There was a little bit of an accident in front of Uniqlo because I'm heading to boba right now. That's what my mind's set on, and all of a sudden like Brayden is just cutting in front of me and like hits me, and I'm like, dude, what the heck? He's like, oh, sorry. I was like, that's cool. Like you want to go see SpongeBob? That's fine. So they had like the SpongeBob shirts and everything. It was really cool. All the characters had 4 eyes though. I'm not sure why they did, but it was interesting seeing like SpongeBob with 4 eyes, Patrick with 4 eyes. I don't know if it was like a special promotion thing or if like that's just some type of art or whatever, but it was cool. After that, we went back to the Sky Tree area. We went to the Sensoji Temple. Probably committed a lot of other faux pas there. But very beautiful temple, very beautiful area. Really nice view of the Sky Tree, which was actually the final destination in Tokyo. We went back to the Sky Tree Mall and we had for dinner a dish called oyadoken, which is like an egg and chicken and rice dish, which was excellent. That's the common trend here among the food is excellent. We also had strawberry soft serve from Strawberry Mania. We stopped by the Pokemon Center, which was amazing. I hadn't played the Pokemon games or watched the TV show, but I was in awe of this. I was impressed. We also then stopped by the Kirby Cafe, and I got Kirby. Kirby is like great. I love Kirby. I said this on the Instagram earlier, but Kirby holds a special place in my heart. Like, I grew up playing Kirby Superstar Ultra, and me and my brother would fight over like the DS game. Like, it was a little DS like SD card, and we'd fight over it to the point where like my mom got so tired of hearing us fight over who got to play Kirby Superstar Ultra, she just bought another game. She's like, "You guys have worn me down so much, just stop fighting. Here's another copy of the damn game." So I love Kirby. I've always loved Kirby, and now I have a little Kirby keychain. I'm debating putting him on my backpack, but I think he's just gonna get dirty and like destroyed if I do that. So I probably won't. He'll probably just go on my desk at work, low key. But then from there, that was kind of a wrap on our time in Tokyo. We had to navigate to the Shinkansen station. And of course, no journey would be complete without a little bit of adventure. So we went to the Shinkansen counter, the JR East counter in station, and we were like, we need to get to Kanazawa. Can you book on this train? And the woman there, she was a little bit confused about what we wanted to do. So she booked us to a town that sounded like Kanazawa, if you say it, but it's spelled very differently. And it's like in the opposite direction. So as we're walking out of the office, I look at the ticket and I'm like, "Hey, Brayden, is this the right ticket?" And it wasn't. So we scramble to try to figure out this ticket, and eventually we running around all these different offices, and eventually they point us right back to the original one. The other woman there cancels our tickets and books us on to the Kanazawa one, only to come find out that we don't actually need to reserve our tickets on the Shinkansen with the JR Rail Pass. So we could have just taken the 6:30 and the 5:30 train like we originally wanted to without any headaches. But one of the themes through this trip has been learning through experience. And so I feel like every day we learn something. So, in a way, our ignorance and our stupidity is a good thing because it means we're growing as people and we're expanding our minds, which is good. And then after that, after the whole debacle with the Shinkansen tickets were sorted out, we go down to the Shinkansen platform and it's like, whoa. Like, these trains are just so cool, and I'm just going to nerd out about these trains. They look like something out of the future. Like, I've seen, like, the ice trains in Germany, the TGVs in, France and everything, the Eurostar, everything, but, like, this Shinkansen just comes into the station, and it has, like, a super long nose, and it has, like, it honestly kind of looks like a fighter jet. A fighter jet is a train because it has it really has like a cockpit canopy, and this thing just comes gliding into the station. That's the way I can describe it. It just comes gliding into the station, and it just is like, wow, this is just awesome. This is just crazy. Like, this is just what an experience. And so I was like super excited, like seeing all these like just bullet trains come in and out of the station. I was like, this is so cool. And then ours comes, and we zip to Kanazawa. It takes a couple hours, but I'm not complaining. I'm riding the bullet train, and it's just so smooth. It's like you're going like 175 miles an hour on this thing. It's smooth. It's just, I could totally nerd out about like the engineering on the bullet train. I'm not going to do that, not in this video at least. Just know that the bullet train was definitely a really cool thing, and we're not done with the bullet trains yet. We still have plenty more to ride. So, all that being said, we had one final calorie corner on the bullet train. We had these 3 drinks that we got in the station. We had this like banana chocolate milk, which I mean tasted exactly how you would think it would taste. Good. Tastes like chocolate covered bananas. We had this vitamin C water thing that was really good. Tasted like cherry Coke almost. And then we had like this acai bowl like yogurt drink, which was also pretty good. Are you noticing a common trend here about like things being pretty good? Like everything we've eaten so far has been good, like except the United food. Like United, I don't know what you guys are doing in economy class. I mean, I know it's like cattle class, but like, wow, that food was awful. But you know, it was actually good that we had to eat such awful food, because then it set the expectations low for the rest of the trip. So now it's just is like everything is just good now, because like everything was so bad on that flight that everything is just great now. So, that was a lot. Hopefully the subsequent videos are not going to be this long, because I just had a lot to update everybody else on today. But that's like the first, 4 days of our trip. We had day 0, which is leaving. Day 1 was the 8th. Day 2 is getting in. Day 2 is kind of, day 1 was kind of like the 8th and 9th combined. Like, even though it was 2 days, but day 2 is like Skytree Day. Day 3 would be Mount Fuji. Day 4 would be today. So yeah, like the first like 4 or 5 days of the trip. Anyway, that's all for now. Lots of stories to come, I'm sure. Lots of missed trains to come. Lots of misadventures to come. Hopefully not. Hopefully these updates are very boring. But until then, peace out.